The lights were shining bright, the stadium was packed, and millions of football fans around the world were watching as South Korea and the Czech Republic stepped onto the pitch for a crucial FIFA World Cup clash. Both nations arrived with pride, history, and high expectations. South Korea, one of Asia's most successful football nations, carried the hopes of an entire continent. The Czech Republic, known for producing technically gifted players and fierce competitors, came determined to make a statement on football's biggest stage. As the match began, the Czech Republic looked sharp and organized. Their midfield controlled possession, and their attackers searched for openings in the South Korean defense. The pressure finally paid off when Ladislav Krejci found the net, giving Czechia the lead. The Czech supporters erupted with celebration as their team took control of the contest. For a moment, it seemed the Europeans were on course for a memorable victory. But South Korea has built its football identity on resilience, discipline, and never giving up. Throughout its football history, the nation has repeatedly shown that it can compete with the world's best. South Korea's journey in international football has been remarkable. The team made history at the 2002 FIFA World Cup when they reached the semifinals, becoming the first Asian nation ever to achieve that feat. Led by legendary players and inspired by passionate home crowds, that tournament changed the perception of Asian football forever. Over the years, South Korea has produced world-class talent. Players such as Park Ji-sung became global stars, winning trophies in Europe and inspiring a new generation of footballers. Today, that legacy continues through Captain Son Heung-min, one of the most respected and successful Asian footballers in history. As the match continued, South Korea began pushing forward with greater urgency. Their midfield started winning battles, and their attackers became more dangerous with every passing minute. The breakthrough finally arrived when Hwang In-beom scored the equalizer. Suddenly, the momentum shifted, the Korean players gained confidence, and the Czech Republic found itself under increasing pressure. The stadium atmosphere intensified. Every tackle, every pass, and every chance carried enormous significance. Then came the decisive moment. Oh Hyung-gu found the opportunity and delivered the winning goal. South Korea had completed the comeback. Players celebrated passionately, knowing how important the victory could become in their World Cup campaign. The final score was South Korea 2, Czech Republic 1. The result showcased everything football fans love about the World Cup: drama, emotion, resilience, and unforgettable moments. Yet the story of these two nations extends far beyond a single match. The Czech Republic possesses a rich football tradition. Before the modern Czech Republic existed, Czechoslovakia was one of Europe's strongest football powers. They reached multiple World Cup finals and won the European Championship in 1976. The nation has produced legendary footballers whose influence is still felt today. Players such as Pavel Nedved became icons of European football, winning prestigious individual awards and inspiring future generations. The Czech football culture has always emphasized technical ability, tactical intelligence, and fighting spirit. Modern stars like Patrik Schick and Tomáš Souček continue that tradition. Schick has become known for spectacular goals and clinical finishing, while Souček's leadership and midfield dominance have made him one of the most respected players in European football. South Korea's football rise has followed a different path. For decades, the country worked tirelessly to establish itself among the world's elite. Through investment in youth development, improved coaching standards, and growing international experience, South Korea transformed into a consistent World Cup participant. Their players increasingly moved to Europe's top leagues, gaining valuable experience against world-class competition. This development helped elevate the national team to new levels. No player symbolizes this progress more than Son Heung-min. From his early days in South Korea to becoming a global superstar in European football, Son has inspired millions. His speed, finishing ability, professionalism, and leadership have made him one of the most influential footballers in Asian history. Alongside Son, players such as Kim Min-jae have proven that South Korean footballers can excel at the highest levels of the game. Kim's defensive performances in Europe have earned widespread recognition and further strengthened South Korea's reputation on the international stage. When South Korea and the Czech Republic meet, it is more than just a football match. It is a clash of different football cultures, different histories, and different journeys toward success. The Czech Republic brings decades of European football tradition, tactical excellence, and technical quality. South Korea brings relentless determination, incredible work ethic, and the ambition of a nation that continues to break barriers in world football. Their latest encounter added another memorable chapter to this growing football story. For South Korea, the comeback victory demonstrated character, belief, and the ability to perform under pressure. For the Czech Republic, despite the disappointment, the performance showed quality and potential for the challenges ahead. As the World Cup continues, both teams know that every match matters. Every goal, every save, and every moment can define a nation's tournament. Football has always been about more than results. It is about passion, dreams, and the stories that connect millions of people across the globe. And in this unforgettable battle between South Korea and the Czech Republic, fans witnessed exactly why the FIFA World Cup remains the greatest stage in world football. But for the players walking off the pitch that night, the story was far from over. As South Korean fans celebrated the dramatic comeback victory, the players knew that one win alone would not guarantee success. The World Cup is a marathon disguised as a sprint. Every team arrives believing they can make history, but only a few survive the pressure, the expectations, and the relentless challenges that follow. Inside the South Korean dressing room, emotions were running high. The players had just shown the world what they were capable of. They had fallen behind, faced adversity, and still found a way to win. Those are the moments that build belief inside a squad. Captain Son Heung-min looked around the room at his teammates. Some were celebrating loudly. Others sat quietly, exhausted from 90 minutes of battle. But every player understood the same thing. The journey had only begun. Meanwhile, in the Czech Republic dressing room, the atmosphere was completely different. Silence filled the room. The players replayed every moment in their minds. The missed chances, the defensive mistakes, the opportunities that could have changed everything. Football can be cruel. One moment you are leading on the world's biggest stage. A few minutes later, you are searching for answers. Yet the greatest teams are often defined not by their victories, but by how they respond to defeat. Tomáš Souček stood up and addressed his teammates. The tournament was not over. The dream was still alive. One loss could not erase years of preparation, sacrifice, and hard work. The Czech players knew they would have another chance. And sometimes, that is all a football team needs. As the tournament continued, fans around the world began debating both teams. Could South Korea repeat the magic of 2002? Could this generation create another historic run? Was Son Heung-min about to lead his nation to its greatest achievement yet? Questions filled television studios, social media feeds, and sports headlines across the globe. At the same time, many experts refused to count out the Czech Republic. Their squad still possessed quality. Their midfield remained one of the strongest in the competition. Their attacking players still had the ability to change games in an instant. History had shown many times that World Cups are full of surprises. Some teams start brilliantly and fade away. Others begin poorly before producing unforgettable runs. Nobody knows which story will be written next. That uncertainty is what makes football so special. Thousands of miles away, children watched highlights of the match and imagined themselves wearing their country's colors one day. Young players in Seoul dreamed of becoming the next Son Heung-min. Young players in Prague dreamed of scoring winning goals in future World Cups. That is the power of the tournament. It inspires future generations. It creates heroes. It creates memories. And sometimes, it changes lives forever. As the days passed, both teams returned to training. The celebrations disappeared. The disappointment faded. The focus returned. Every drill mattered. Every tactical meeting mattered. Every recovery session mattered. Because at the World Cup, the difference between glory and heartbreak can be a single moment. A single pass. A single save. A single goal. The players understood that better than anyone. For South Korea, confidence was growing. For the Czech Republic, determination was growing. And somewhere in the distance, new challenges were waiting. New opponents. New stadiums. New battles. the World Cup always moves forward. It never waits. And as millions of fans prepared for the next chapter, one thing was certain. The story of South Korea and the Czech Republic was still being written. Because in football, every ending is simply the beginning of another journey. Another match. Another dream. Another opportunity to become immortal. And somewhere beneath the bright lights, surrounded by roaring crowds and carrying the hopes of entire nations, 22 players would once again step onto the field, knowing that history was waiting for its next hero. And somewhere beneath the bright lights, surrounded by roaring crowds and carrying the hopes of entire nations, 22 players would once again step onto the field, knowing that history was waiting for its next hero. Because every World Cup creates legends. Not all of them lift the trophy. Not all of them score the winning goal. Sometimes a legend is born through courage, through sacrifice, through refusing to quit when everything seems lost. And that opportunity was coming. Soon. The tournament would continue, and with it would come new challenges, new rivals, and new moments of pressure. The crowds would grow louder. The expectations would grow heavier. The stakes would become even greater. But that is exactly what every footballer dreams about. To stand on the biggest stage. To hear the anthem echo through the stadium. To feel millions of eyes watching. And for South Korea and the Czech Republic, the next chapter was still waiting to be written. A chapter filled with possibility. A chapter filled with hope. And perhaps, if fate allowed it, a chapter that would lead all the way to football immortality.